Hey, what's up, everybody? It's BDF44. So, as you can see, I'm back at work. Had a nice little weekend. Things have gotten a lot better since I left here. So, very, very, very pleased to start my week off in this mindset. But I'm not here to talk about me. I'm here to talk about the Los Angeles Lakers, as always. By the way, if you click on my face, chances are, if I'm talking about basketball, you're going to hear a Laker reference. Even if I try my very, very best not to mention my team, they're so enriched in every fabric of my being to every time I try to come up with a scenario, I can't exclude us, even when it makes sense to do so. So that's my disclaimer, one of many. But today I'm here to talk about the Lakers. I'm going to do it purposefully because we are actually in the news. We are buyout buyers at this point, and all the signs are pointing toward Andre Drummond, considering the Los Angeles Lakers first as his destination of choice. Um, I've been on record as soon as yesterday, saying that I think the Nets are the best destination for him to win an easy ring and get it out the way. My thinking was if he were to go to the Nets right now, they would not lose probably more than 4 games for the rest of the playoffs. I mean, season and playoffs. I mean, I don't think no one's beating them basically. Especially considering that I think that KD is, well, I don't want to say that I don't think he's hurt, but I'm saying that I think he's conserving his energy, and I think that if this were to say the NBA Finals, he would be out there. That's what I think. Now I don't know that to be true, but that's just a guess. You got to understand, and I'm sure you already do. There was no preseason, there was no summer league, none of that. A lot of these guys didn't even have a real time off. Now a guy like KD doesn't count because he's been off the whole time, but if you see guys take a little longer to come back from injuries because they didn't get any breaks. They didn't get a break for in between the bubble for some of these guys who obviously weren't playing, who were playing rather. And so, I think a guy like KD is probably just making sure that he's 100% right. Same thing with Kyrie. Obviously, congratulations. He got some good things going on. He has a little one on the way. So he stepped away from the team and nobody's even questioning that. We're very happy for him, and we want him to take his time, whatever he has to do. It's not like they're going to be losing too much. I think James Harden is kind of nursing an injury of some sort, but it ain't nothing too serious. Like I said, if the playoffs started today, all three of those guys would be out there, in my opinion. I don't think that would even you wouldn't have to worry too much about the Nets. They're going to just mow through the Eastern Conference pretty easily, in my opinion, until they get to the Sixers. As to which they'll probably win it in like 5 or 6. But yeah, they don't have a whole lot of competition, unfortunately, for the rest of the league. But as far as my team is concerned, we do. Andre Drummond has said that he does not believe that the Clippers nor the Nets have the best role for him at this time. So he's ruling those guys out, and I'm happy about that. Right now, he's talking to the Lakers, the Celtics, the Heat, the Knicks, the Clippers, and I don't remember. It might have been another team on there somewhere, but also, another rumor that's been floating around as to why he's not going to the Nets is because Blake Griffin is there, and I don't think he wants to play with Blake Griffin. I don't know how much validity that has, but they've been in Detroit. They had each other in Detroit right before Drummond was traded to the Cleveland Cavaliers, so maybe there is some validity to that. I don't know, but he's definitely not going to the Nets. So now that we've ruled that out, the last thing I heard is that he was really seriously considering the Celtics. Don't know how true that is, but they're trying to slip him in as their starting center. And the thing about the Celtics is they just lost Daniel Tice. They just lost. Who else? Did somebody else leave them? No, I think that was it. They just traded away Daniel Tice. They turned him into Mo Wagner, which kind of rubs me the wrong way because he used to be a Laker. Now he's a Celtic, but it is what it is. I look at that as a salary dump, so it wouldn't hurt them. I don't think Mo Wagner's quite ready to be a backup center at all. And I think that the Celtics would be happy starting their center right now, the guy that they kept. But I don't think they have any problem with putting someone in front of him. He could play the 4 as well. So it should be easy going for them to try to slip Drummond in if they want to. But I don't see Drummond choosing the Celtics over the Lakers 2021. I just don't see it. But that's what's being reported. I heard Miami was in there, but that makes no sense. So you might want to scratch Miami off that list. I might have got that wrong because I can't see them bringing him in. They got Bam Adebayo, and there's no reason at all to bring in a center at this time for that team. So all things considered, I think he's going to be a Laker. I've said this a million times. I think we're going to be very difficult to rebound over, even before the guys get back. Him and Trez are just going to make it very, very difficult to rebound over. A lot of pressure's on him to help us win games, so it would be wise for us to just consider what his load is going to be, even though he's a superstar caliber player in terms of taking loads and doing a lot of stuff with big minutes. But we're just going to find out what he can do for us right away. And, this is not a guy that's going to come in and just get 10 and 10. We are expecting very, very monster numbers from a guy who's consistently put up monster numbers his whole career. He's one of the best players in fantasy basketball, period. When you consider him, you're taking him in your top 15, even though he's not a top 15 player in this league. When it comes to statistics, you best believe he is a top 10 player, 15 player in this league. So we're very, very, very happy that this guy is considering us. He is not your run-of-the-mill average buyout candidate. Usually buyout candidates are not this dominant and not this young. So for us to be in this position right now is unbelievable. Cleveland, it's tough because Cleveland traded for Drummond. I'm trying to put myself in Cleveland's shoes. They traded for Drummond. You almost feel sorry in a way, As they traded for him, they retained his value. He wasn't able to get them where they wanted to go. And then they trade for Jared Allen. Now, Jared Allen's the guy they want to pay, but they can't seem to get anything for Drummond's value. It's like Drummond, let's say this was 2000, back when Shaq was bullying people around, a guy like Drummond would be worth 3 first-round picks, several players, swaps. Like, he would be worth a lot. But because the game has passed him by in terms of spacing the floor and being able to shoot the three and all of that, suddenly his value isn't anywhere near what it should be overall. Like, if you were to take a pool of basketball players all time, Drummond would probably go sooner in every era before the players in this era. I don't know if I'm phrasing what I'm saying, but in other words, you're going to pick Drummond before you pick some of the players that you're going to pick first in this era. Some of these stretch guys, some of these shorter guys that are known for shooting threes and all that. If you're playing in 1978, you want Drummond before half of the guys in this era. But because it's 2021, it's that kind of thing. So I personally still believe that a guy like Drummond holds extreme value. And even though the league doesn't value him as such, I happen to. Because I know if you can get a center who can dominate the boards and score at will, and he's not a slow-footed person, chances are you're still going to be able to dominate no matter really whether or not it's pace in space or not. I think this idea that you forego so much when you can't guard the perimeter is a bit overstated even in this era. I think if you can control the boards and you have a guy who can dominate and draw fouls like Drummond can, it's going to balance out the fact that your spacing isn't necessarily the way it needs to be three-point wise. You're gonna give up some open threes, but you're gonna make up for it by getting some of those players who hit open threes off the floor in foul trouble. So a guy like Drummond holds more value in this era than most people think because of it. And I think we're gonna love having him. I really do. He's gonna be a bad free throw shooter for us. We know that going in. He turns the ball over way more than he should, and he misses more inside shots than you'd ever want to see him miss. That's what I've been told. I'm looking forward to him doing a little better here in the championship caliber squad, but he's bringing with him some issues that maybe we don't have yet. So that's something I've been saying for months, even before we knew he was going to be possibly a Laker. I said it, and I'll say it again. He brings problems with him that we don't have without him, but he also brings extreme strengths and extreme lopsided rebounding ability that just you can't duplicate anywhere else, basically. So, if he does sign with the Lakers, which at this point it looks like he will, I immediately vault us back into the top of the conversation, even above the Nets. And I said that. I said it from the beginning. The Nets are going to be in trouble if we get Drummond. Because even though they're going to have KD who can score at will, they're going to have Kyrie who can score at will, they're going to have James Harden who can score at will, what they're not going to be able to account for is the foul trouble that they're going to get into because of a guy like Drummond, because of a guy like Bron, because of a guy like AD. those three players particularly are going to draw so many fouls. They're going to have lopsided lineups on the floor at pockets at a time that we can take advantage of. The Lakers have never, ever, ever been afraid of James Harden. Never. Anytime James Harden's on the floor, we believe we can beat him. As great as he is, if it's a playoff situation, chances are we believe we can beat him. Kyrie Irving, it's obviously a little different. He knows Bron. He's a big-time shot maker. We haven't had that kind of success against him. We haven't had those type of playoff experiences because he's played in the East for so long. But what I'm saying to you is this. At the end of the day, as much as the Nets are a talented team, they are still terrible defensively. So that's going to work against every team but us. Why? Because you can't give up points to LeBron James and Anthony Davis. You can't be bad defensively against them. They're one of the only duos in the league where I don't think that works if you're the Nets. So what the Nets are really counting on is being able to outscore us and being able to overachieve defensively. And while that will be possible if we have Trez down there who's undermanned, undersized, when you bring in Drummond who is not undersized and you have Trez on top of that, to where if Drummond gets in foul trouble, now you got to deal with Trez off the bench. They don't have enough size to deal with that. DeAndre Jordan ain't dealing with that. The young kid Claxton ain't dealing with that. And if they don't find somebody in this buyout market who can play the center position, they're going to actually be a little undersized for what they want to be going up against a team like us with so much size. Same goes with Philly. I think they can get away with it against Philly. I do. But I don't think they can get away with it against Bron and AD. So I know I've been all over the place saying the Lakers should tank. We can't beat the Nets. But that was only if Drummond didn't come. If Drummond comes, it recalibrates everything. Some of the trades that took place yesterday changed things a little bit. And I think the Lakers are going to be all right as long as they get everybody back and there are no re-injury issues. So that's a lot riding on that. If I'm being honest, if I'm a betting man, I'm not betting that LeBron and AD both remain healthy after coming back. That's why I have the Nets winning the championship, because I do fear re-injury. But I like the fact the Lakers didn't make that trade for Kyle Lowry ultimately after thinking about it. Kyle Lowry is a 35-year-old point guard who can still do a lot, but how long? For how long? And you're giving up a bunch of 22-year-olds. I think you end up possibly regretting that a year and a half from now. And I think a year and a half from now, he'll probably be a buyout candidate himself, as to which we can pick him up and add him to this team without giving up any of the stuff that we would have given up yesterday. So I like Kyle Lowry. I think the heck of him, the world of his game, but THT, KCP, and Schroeder was a bit too rich for my taste in regards to that player. Take THT out of it, maybe put in Wesley Matthews, maybe put in even another player to make that sweet. I probably would have did it. But nah, THT is too young, too much upside, too much uncertain value with that player. He could be an all-star 4 years from now, and then we look stupid trading him away for a 35-year-old guy who's probably retired by then. So at this point, it's like, nah, we did the right thing. We kept our depth. We're still going to lose the next 10 games, but we already knew that. No biggie. We got Drummond, who seems to be excited about coming here, and we also have a couple other buyout candidates that are going to be available to us in the event that they do indeed reach a buyout agreement. LaMarcus Aldridge is another name. I hear he's interested in coming to the Lakers. You never know. We might mess around and get both of those guys. And so if that's the case, then obviously that just makes us that much more deep. It gives us less reason to need Marc Gasol, which is always a wonderful thing. And it gives us some real depth to kind of work with while LeBron and AD come back. LaMarcus Aldridge is going to fit right in, especially if we have bigs like Trez and Drummond there to make it so that he doesn't have to really pay on the inside, bang with anybody. He can just do his mid-range jumper thing, and if he's not feeling it, he's not playing well, you sit him down, no pressure. So I'm not a fan of LaMarcus Aldridge if we're bringing him in instead of Drummond, but if he were to just fit in with this team with Drummond, then there's no harm there at all. No harm there at all. I don't know if that's a good enough role for him, though. I can see him totally choosing another spot if Drummond comes here, but just saying, throwing that out there. And there's some other guys that are going to be available buyout-wise as well. I'm not quite sure who all they are at this point, but we will know soon enough, and I'll make videos about it once they sign. So, yeah, thank you guys for watching. My name is BDF, and I'm out.